You can have the vision board, the 5 a.m. wake up, the journal full of goals, the new routine, and still feel like you're going nowhere. And most people think that that's a discipline problem, a motivation problem, and I just need to try harder problem. But it's not. It's an identity problem. The life you want requires a version of you that you haven't fully become yet. And no amount of planning or goal setting closes that gap. And that's what we're building today. Welcome to Chapter 2 of the Best Fucking Year series, or the BFY Series as I like to call it, where we take your vision from something that's living on a board to real life through intentional action. This chapter is about you designing on purpose the exact version of yourself who makes achieving your goals not just possible, but inevitable. It's not your goals that fail. It's your identity that does. You can set the goal to build your business, set up your finances, get consistent at the gym, show up differently in relationships, finally start creating content, and then 3 weeks later you're back to the same patterns, same decisions, the same version of yourself doing the same things. And it's not because you're broken, and it's not because you don't want it badly enough, but it's because the person making the decisions every day, her standards, her beliefs, her inner dialogue hasn't changed. And a new life cannot be sustained by an old identity. This is why so many of us end up in the same loop year after year, stuck in that relationship, stuck in that shitty job, stuck being scared to put themselves online, wondering why the vision for their goal is so clear and yet the reality is not moving. But the version of you who has the thriving business, the healthy body, the million followers on social media, she doesn't think the way that you currently do. She doesn't make decisions the way that you currently make them. And she doesn't tolerate what you currently tolerate. She is a completely different operating system. And you can't run new software on an old system. Trust me, my iPhone 13 likes to remind me of this every time I delay updating the OS. So today we build your new operating system. Now, when I first started doing this work, I was resistant to it. I thought, I know who I want to be. I don't need to write it down. I can see it. I can feel it. And that worked for about 3 days every time I tried to change something. I'd be super motivated. I'd see it in my head. I'd wake up. I'd set the routine. Everything was going perfect. And then life would happen. Something would go wrong. I got my period, which I get every month, but I didn't plan for. Someone would say something to throw me off, have a hard day, or maybe I'd just simply forget. And then I'd collapse back into my old systems and right back into my old patterns. Because yes, I had a vision, but I didn't have identity. The shift started when I stopped asking, what do I want to achieve? And when I started asking, who do I need to become? Now see, those are two completely different questions. One keeps you in your head and one completely changes how you move through the world. So I started getting specific, like really specific, like painfully specific. When you're thinking about your future self, when you're building the babe that is the version of you who achieves all of her goals, what does she look like? What does she believe about herself? What does she do when things go wrong? What does she wear when she needs to feel powerful? What does she no longer say to herself in the mirror? Does she pick her nose? What does she do with the booger after? You get where I'm going. Does future me pick her nose? I don't know. Does she use Q-tips? Damn, I really got to think about that some more. Anyways, once I answered those questions, something started to happen. I started making my decisions from that identity, not based on fear, not based on anxiety, not based on how much money was in my bank account or what could go wrong, but from the lens of the version of me who already had it, the version of me who was destined to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve. I started answering those questions from that lens. I started moving through the world through that perspective. I left my relationship. I booked that solo trip. I started creating content online, not just on YouTube, because I've been doing this for a couple years, but on Instagram, where I was really showing myself to the world, whereas my YouTube I've just created from scratch. None of those were willpower decisions. None of those were emotional. None of those were logical decisions for the person I currently was at that time, but they were identity decisions. And I knew that even though the version of me that had to make those decisions, if I was sitting in myself, I knew that none of those things seemed like the right thing to do. And even if they did, they just seemed way too scary to handle. But I had to shift into the identity of the version of me that I knew could handle those things, because she was already doing so many more amazing things. And I let her make that decision. So it had nothing to do with willpower. It had nothing to do with feeling ready. It had everything to do with succumbing to the identity that I had built, because I knew who she was, even if I wasn't her yet. And that's what I want for you today. So here's how this works. If you watched episode 1 of the Best Fucking Year series, then you know that this is the part where I give you a free tool to help you with this exercise. Today's free tool is the Build a Babe worksheet. Now, I do want to put a disclaimer that in this worksheet, I have written everything through my own pronouns, which are she, her, but I want you guys to know that whatever you identify as, it is open to you. And when you get the template, you'll also have an editable version on Canva. So if you really want to change the pronouns and stuff to make it feel more you absolutely can. We love everybody here, okay? This worksheet walks you through designing your future self in very specific detail. Not in a vague, I want to be successful and confident kind of way, but in a, this is how she lives, this is what time she wakes up, this is what she likes to eat, this is the music she likes to listen to kind of way. Now we start by anchoring everything to your goals, because that is your North Star. Star. That is what you're going towards. This is what everything is built around. This isn't about designing a vibe with no direction. Your future self needs to be built with your specific outcomes, aka your goals, in mind. Then you're gonna name her. Yes, you have to name your babes. Your babes. Sorry, am I from the UK? My babe's name is Keeks. You could probably tell. She's here, she's online. You can find her on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Follow me on all those platforms. Comment, subscribe, please. But that's my babe. I am living her, I am being her. It's not my govy. That's who I named my babe, and that's who I show up as. And then we go deeper. You heard some of the questions I asked you early in the video. It's gonna be a lot of those and then some. What does she do every single day no matter what? What does she never do? What does she believe about herself that you currently don't yet? And I wanna be really clear about something. This is not about pretending to be someone that you're not. What I want you to understand is that by being able to finish this worksheet, that babe, that version of you already exists. The fact that you can visualize her, the fact that you know what she eats, the fact that you know what time she wakes up in the morning, the fact that you know all of these characteristics about her means that she already exists. You would not have this information if she didn't. This is about becoming the most aligned, the most powerful, most fully realized version of who you already are, underneath all the conditioning, the fear, the old patterns, and the stories that were never really yours to begin with. Your babe is not somebody else. She is you, just without all the limitations you may have inherited. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity, which means no amount of motivation, no amount of planning, no perfect morning routine will get you there if your identity underneath has not shifted. But when the identity does shift, the goals become a natural byproduct, because you don't have to force yourself to show up for something that feels like you were built for it. You don't have to struggle your way through a habit that already belongs to a version of yourself that you respect. And the gap between who you are right now and who she is, it's not a talent gap, it's not a luck gap, it's a decisions gap. And every single day you get to close it. So here's what I need you to do after this video. First, if you have not watched chapter 1 of the Best Fucking Year series, I'm gonna need you to go watch that now. I'll link it up here or wherever, but I'll also link it in the description below. If you don't know already, I am building a full year-long series because I'm not just one and done in you guys, okay? We're in this together and we are going to make this your best fucking year. So what you can expect from me is weekly videos and weekly free tools to help you get there. So please just know that every episode is in the order it is on purpose. Don't skip anything. If you're watching episode 2, go watch episode 1, do episode 1 first. Everything is exactly as it's meant to be. Don't feel like you're missing out. Don't feel like you're already late. What's meant for you will never miss you. Second, if you want to access the free tools that I've mentioned in these videos, you're going to sign up for my Best Fucking Year newsletter. It is a free newsletter and it is the only place that you're going to be able to get these free tools because I send them as part of a sequence. Each week you'll get an email from me. You'll have a video to watch. The BFY newsletter is the only way to get these free tools. They are not available anywhere else. At the time of filming this, we're already at 140 subscribers. So the community, our family is growing. I'm so excited. I'm so happy about that. And just like this YouTube series, the newsletter is also designed intentionally so that each week you get one tool that is synced to the corresponding week's video, delivered in order. So the email lands in your inbox, you get the free tool, you watch the video, you do the work. Email, watch, do the work. Email, watch, do the work. That's the system. You see how it all connects? Yeah, because your girl was intentional this year. And lastly, before we go, here's what I want you to hold on to. You are never stuck being who you've been. The version of you that's been running the show, she was built by your environment, she was built by the people you surrounded yourself with. You might have been in fight or flight. She was built by these circumstances. But she is not final. She is just a version of you. And today you start writing the next version. And every choice you make from here forward is either moving you toward or further away from her. The gap between who you are and who she is, that is just decisions, baby. So make them. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment because we are locked in, baby. And I'll see you next week for episode 3. I even see it on here. Sorry, there's a fly on my finger. You start to, bro, these flies. This Build a Babe worksheet, wow, there's a pretty birdie.